Good morning, Taiwan, and thank you for sharing your day with us. I am Louisa Lee, here to keep you informed and entertained. 欢迎收看 Louisa 报报，每天给你最新奇、最有趣的新闻。And first to news in China. With the intention of rebalancing the nation's economy, Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao has announced a target growth rate of 7.5% for the year of 2012 at the National People's Congress, marking the first time in 8 years that the annual goal is set below 8%. 大陆官方公布2012预计的经济成长率为 7.5%， 比之前的 8% 还要低。
It was a widely anticipated move to provide breathing room for Beijing ahead of a leadership transition. Speaking to thousands of delegates from the National People's Congress, Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao cut China's growth target from a long-held annual goal of 8% and shifted to rebalancing the economy and keeping prices down.
The main targets for this year's economic and social development are as follows. To increase GDP by 7.5%, create more than 9 million new jobs in rural and urban areas, keep the registered urban unemployment rate at or below 4.6%, hold rises of the CPI around 4%, increase the volume of total exports and imports by around 10%, and continue to improve our international balance of payments.
Wen says the key goal is to encourage more domestic consumption, and the government will address the uneven income distribution that discourages hundreds of millions of ordinary farmers and migrant workers from spending. The Communist Party also wants to wean the economy off its present dependence on exports, smokestack industries, and government-backed infrastructure. Wen says China will stay engaged in the global community.
We will strive to maintain steady growth of China's economic and trade relations with developed countries and comprehensively deepen mutual beneficial cooperation with developing countries. We will continue to promote development of free trade zones and regional economic integration. We will actively participate in building mechanisms for global economic governance, such as the G20, strengthen coordination with major economies on macroeconomic policy, oppose protectionism in all forms, and continue to play a constructive role in the Doha round of trade talks and the reform of the international financial system.
The Chinese Premier and President Hu Jintao are near the end of a decade in power, which saw China steam through the global financial crisis unscathed and grow into the world's second biggest economy after the United States. But when they hand over power in late autumn, China could be headed for its slowest full year of growth since both men took office. The Communist Party will install a new cohort of leaders by the end of 2012, and Wen and Hu will step down at the National Parliament session early next year.
And in other news, many Japanese residents are ditching the public transportation system and are relying on their bikes to get around town after the March 11 disaster which devastated the nation almost a year ago. And how is this change of lifestyle impacting the streets of Japan? Our Jennifer Zhang explains. 日本东京在311大地震之后，地铁停驶，交通混乱，现在就有很多人都改骑脚踏车上下班，避免地铁又停电回不了家。
After the massive earthquake struck Japan's northeastern coast on March 11, 2011, Tokyo was left in transportation chaos. Thousands of passengers were unable to get home through subways and had to stay overnight in offices. But cyclists like Masayaki Hayashi face no such problem.
3.11 の時はですね、会社で仕事をしていましたら、大きな地震が来て、すごいビルがもう揺れたんですね。で、テレビでもですね、公共交通機関とか全部止まっちゃったって言ってまして、会社の人もですね、そのまま会社で泊まる人とか、歩いて帰る人とかいろいろいたんですが、私は自転車通勤してたので、自転車でですね、社宅までですね、帰れました。
Bicycle Group said the number of cycle commuters has increased since the earthquake. According to Japan Bicycle Promotion Institute, from March to August last year, domestic shipments of new bicycles increased more than 15% compared to the same period in 2010. And in addition, bike shops have also seen a greater demand in commuting bikes in central Tokyo, while more and more people are bringing their old bikes for repair. Japan Cycling Association (JCA) said the real increase in cyclists on the streets could be as high as 5 times the level before March. However, more cyclists on the road mean more accidents. Based on the government statistics in 2010, cyclists made up 16% of road fatalities in Japan, compared to 3.7% in France or 5.8% in the UK. JCA Managing Director Kaiichi Nakasawa said the reason was due to Japanese habit of cycling on the sidewalk, not on the road.
親御さんが歩道を走りなさいというふうに子どもたちに教えていくわけですね。ですから特にお子さんたちのそういう誤りによる歩道での事故、それから今度車道は反対に信号を無視したりですね、それから左側通行をしなかったり、そういうルールを無視した走行があるためにですね。
In response to the surge in bicycles on the streets, police has issued new guidelines which recommend most cyclists to use the road, with sidewalks limited to elderly or younger riders.
And you don't have to be an Oscar winner to take these home, but you do need to have deep pockets. 15 vintage statuettes have been recently sold in Los Angeles to 3 secret bidders for more than $3 million. The 15 Oscars that went under the hammer at the Nate D. Sanders auction collected a total of more than $3 million. Herman Mangiewicz's 1942 Best Screenplay Academy Award for Citizen Kane led the auction with a winning bid of more than $588,000. The 1933 Oscar for Best Picture Cavalcade came in second after selling slightly over $332,000. The 1941 Academy Award for Best Picture, How Green Was My Valley, also generated a high price, fetching around $274,000. The Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences forbids Academy winners to sell their golden statuettes, but the agreement only dates back to 1950. All 15 Oscars up for sale at the auction house were handed out before that time. 洛杉矶的拍卖公司 Nate D. Sanders 在网络上拍卖15座奥斯卡小金人讲座，总价为300万美元。And the sky-high celebrity factor is the main reason why the seats are completely filled, especially when you have Brad Pitt and George Clooney leading the play. Along with other Hollywood stars, the duo have banded together to fight for marriage equality in a one-night benefit performance. Brad Pitt 跟 George Clooney 这2位之前争夺奥斯卡影帝的好朋友，最近一起合作，要为同志婚姻发声。
Brad Pitt and George Clooney headlined a star-studded cast of Hollywood actors in a reading of 8, a play about California's Proposition 8 Saturday night. The reading was an account of the federal district court trial in Perry v. Schwarzenegger, the case filed by the American Federation for Equal Rights to overturn Prop 8, California Marriage Protection Act, which states only marriage between a man and a woman is valid or recognized in the state. Besides Clooney and Pitt, the cast for the play also included actor John C. Reilly, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Jane Lynch.
I hope that there are some people who tuned in because they're interested in seeing George Clooney, they're interested in seeing, Brad Pitt be a judge, and in the, in the process got, moved and are now, understand that it is a big part of the civil rights puzzle that needs to be in place.
The reading of the play was also streamed live on YouTube.
And that's it for this edition. I am Louisa Lee, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Meanwhile, stay with CTS for the latest weather update and for more top stories.